हेलो एवरीवन, वेलकम बैक टू माय चैनल। आई होप यू गाइस आर डूइंग वेल। एज यू गाइस नो कि अभी प्रीलिम्स अभी आने वाली है, तो आई थॉट व्हाई नॉट टू स्टार्ट एन सीरीज वेयर इन आई विल बी क्विकली डूइंग द रिविजन ऑफ chapters of an polity. So let us start with the president chapter. So it comes under the part 5 of an Indian constitution, article 52 to 78. It is known as union executive. यूनियन एग्जीक्यूटिव के पार्ट देखेंगे: प्रेसिडेंट, वाइस प्रेसिडेंट, प्राइम मिनिस्टर, काउंसिल ऑफ मिनिस्टर्स एंड अटॉर्नी जनरल ऑफ इंडिया. ये इंपॉर्टेंट है, याद रखना. President is the head of a state and he is the first citizen. Now comes to the election. He is indirectly elected by the members of an electoral college. So electoral college क्या क्या होता है देखेंगे. It consists of elected members of the both houses of the parliament, elected members of the legislative assembly of an state, elected members of the legislative assemblies of an union territories from the Delhi and Puducherry. Let us come to the value of one vote of an MP, which is equal to total value of the vote of all the MLAs of the states divided by total number of the elected members of the parliament. Value of one vote of an MLA is equal to total population of that state divided by total number of the elected members of state legislative assembly divided by thousands. क्योंकि ये जो नंबर होता है वो मोस्टली थाउजेंड्स में होता है, तो वी विल डिवाइड इट बाय थाउजेंड. Now coming to the election system, the system which is adopted in Indian constitution, which is a proportional representation by the means of single transferable vote, and the voting is done by secret ballot. Now if the president has to be elected, he has to have certain number of the votes to be elected as an president. So electoral college electoral quota hota hai, and that quota is equals to total number of the valid votes polled divided by total number of candidates to be elected plus one. तो इस केस में नंबर ऑफ कैंडिडेट्स टू बी इलेक्टेड इज इक्वल्स टू वन, दैट इज ओनली प्रेसिडेंट. तो यहाँ पे वन आएगा, वन प्लस वन इज इक्वल्स टू टू. क्वालिफिकेशंस देखेंगे. ही शुड बी द सिटीजन ऑफ इंडिया, 35 ईयर्स ऑफ एन एज, एंड ही शुड बी क्वालिफाइड टू बी द मेंबर ऑफ लोकसभा, एंड ही शुड नॉट होल्ड एनी ऑफिस ऑफ प्रॉफिट. तो ऑफिस ऑफ प्रॉफिट क्या होता है? ऑफिस ऑफ प्रॉफिट इज नथिंग बट he should not be entitled to withdraw a salary from any kind of government institution until and unless he is a sitting president, vice president, governor or minister. Now comes to the nomination. For the nomination of an office of a president, the president must be subscribed to at least 50 electors as the proposers and 50 electors as the seconders. जो seconders होते हैं basically they support the proposers. Security deposit of 15,000 in RBI, and deposit will be forfeited in the case that if a candidate fails to secure 1/6 of the votes failed. तो 1/6 याद रखना, ये important. Now oath. The oath of an prime minister, oath of president is administered by the chief justice of India, and in his absence the senior most of judge of Supreme Court administers his oath. Tenure होता है 5 years. Impeachment. He is only been impeached only in the case of violation of Indian constitution. बट ये जो टर्म है इट इज नॉट एक्सप्लेन्ड इन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, ये इंपॉर्टेंट है. द इम्पीचमेंट प्रोसेस कैन बी इनिशिएटेड इन आइदर हाउस ऑफ द पार्लियामेंट, एंड द चार्जेस शुड बी साइंड बाय 1/4 ऑफ एन मेंबर ऑफ द हाउस, एंड within 40 days of notice should be given to the president. The impeachment resolution can be passed by the majority of two-third of the total membership of an house, and same for the another house. The nominated members of an parliament can participate in the impeachment process, but we have seen that in electoral college they are not been given power to take the part in the election of an president, but here they can participate. The elected members of a legislative assembly do not participate in impeachment process, but they take part in election of an president. So these 2 points are very very important. Now come to the vacancy. In the case of vacancy, it should be filled within next 6 months from the occurrence of vacancy. In case the vacancy in the case of absence, the vice president will take the charge, and अगर vice president भी नहीं हो, then chief justice of India, and if the chief justice of India is also not present, so senior most judge of Supreme Court will take his place. Now comes to the power. There are 7 powers of president: executive power, legislative power, judicial power, financial power, diplomatic power, military powers, and emergency power. President is the supreme commander of defense of Indian force of India. Now let us come to the veto types. There are 4 veto types: absolute veto, qualified veto, suspensive veto, and pocket veto. President of India doesn't enjoy qualified veto, but the American president enjoys qualified veto and all types of veto. But Indian president enjoys only 3 types of veto. President does not enjoy the veto in the case of constitutional amendment bill. ही इज़ ऑब्लिगेटरी टू गिव एन एक्शन टू द बिल। इसका मतलब ये होता है कि द प्रेसिडेंट को हमेशा एसेंट देना पड़ता है कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन अमेंडमेंट बिल को, ही कैन नॉट रिजेक्ट द बिल। Now let us come to the ordinance. Ordinance क्या होता है? Ordinance basically ordinance will suggest to operate an expiry of within 6 weeks from the reassembly of an president. मतलब जब ordinance ये होता है कि अगर पार्लियामेंट सेशन में ना हो देन प्रेसिडेंट हैज़ एन पावर टू मेक एन ऑर्डिनेंसेस, बट अगर जब पार्लियामेंट सेशन में आ जाए तब विदिन 6 weeks उसको अप्रूवल देना पड़ता है, देन अगर नहीं दिया तो वो डिस्कार्ड हो जाता है। तो मैक्सिमम लाइफ ऑफ ऑर्डिनेंस ये होता है कि 6 months + 6 weeks। ये 6 months कहाँ से आया? दिस 6 month इज द टाइम गैप, मैक्सिमम टाइम गैप बिटवीन 2 sessions ऑफ एन पार्लियामेंट। ऑर्डिनेंस मेकिंग पावर इज नॉट एन डिस्क्रिशनरी पावर ऑफ एन प्रेसिडेंट। ही कैन ओनली promulgate the ordinances or withdraw an ordinance on an advice of council of minister which is headed by prime minister. Now pardoning power of an president, which comes under the article 72 of Indian constitution. There are 5 types of pardoning power: pardon, commutation, remission, respite and reprieve. But there are some discretionary powers with president. He can appoint a prime minister if there is no clear majority or if the PM dies. Dismissal of council of minister if it fails to prove an confidence in Lok Sabha. Dissolution of the Lok Sabha if council of minister loses his majority. There are some other points. All the doubts and discussions in the case of election of a president is only decided by Supreme Courts. The election cannot be challenged on the grounds of incomplete electoral college. Means कि कोई भी challenge नहीं कर सकता in the case that there are vacancies present in the electoral college or not. Even if the president is not validly elected, their past official acts remain valid. The proportional representation को और एक वर्ड यूज़ कर सकते थे which is known as preferential or alternative voting system. अभी एक फ्लो चार्ट देखेंगे कि इन द केस ऑफ रेजिग्नेशन, डेथ और रिमूवल ऑफ एन प्रेसिडेंट, द वीपी विल टेक इट्स चार्ज. अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट, इफ ही इज अनेबल टू परफॉर्म हिज ड्यूटी इन द केस ऑफ इलनेस और हिज अब्सेंस, इन दैट केस ऑल्सो वाइस प्रेसिडेंट विल टेक द चार्ज. बट इन बोथ केसेस में अगर वाइस प्रेसिडेंट प्रेसिडेंट नहीं होगा देन चीफ जस्टिस ऑफ इंडिया विल टेक इट्स चार्ज. अगर चीफ जस्टिस ऑफ इंडिया नहीं हो देन सीनियर मोस्ट जज ऑफ सुप्रीम कोर्ट विल टेक इट्स चार्ज. इफ द प्रेसिडेंट इज अलाइव एंड हिज टेन्योर इज ओवर, then the next election will happen and that will happen in the next 6 months. Until and unless the next election happens, the sitting president will continue to taking charge. Thank you so much guys.